Havana now. Hi, this is Alex for PML, and in this series of tutorials we're going to show you how to take a mega hit and to turn it into your own chord progression in two very easy steps. First step is we record the loop or the chord progression of the song you want to take as an inspiration, and we're going to make it our own. So this is the really easy loop of Havana from Camila Cabello, and we're going to take a quick look on what she does here, or what the writers do here. Therefore we zoom out a little bit, or zoom in. Basically we only have 3 chords, first of which is our root chord or the bass chord or our tonic. And this is the G minor chord. And over here it's G, it's B flat, and it's D. Then we have the second chord, which is E flat major. And the third chord, this is the only chord with a little bit of a trick inside, and this makes it interesting, and this makes the loop so repetitive and keeps it going, because what they do is they add the 7, which is the C, to a D major chord. So it's very basic, it's just one note that's been added, and this is why it sounds that it needs some tension release. So if we just take a quick listen to it, these are the 3 chords, and this wants to go here again. And it does, and that's why it works so well. The other thing that is not typical for everyone who is familiar with producing EDM or techno or house music, right here we are in the harmonic minor scale, and usually we use the natural minor scale. I just show you the difference for quick. It should be like this. Also minor, so we take the D minor, but in our case it's D major. If our chord progression would be like this, the E flat major, and then the minor dominant or the minor 5 chord, this is what sounds probably more natural to you. This is why it's called natural. And the Latinness of the whole song comes from the shift of this one semitone from F to F sharp. And this will not interfere with the melodies because this note is not played in the melody, but it keeps the loop going. Speaking of which, we're gonna record the melody for quick to show you what makes it interesting and why it is so catchy, and why everyone wants to sing it when the song comes on in the radio. So you probably heard that it's really repetitive, and basically that is the main ingredient of making a melody catchy. So the writers, I don't know if you noticed or if you read the liner notes, Pharrell is also a co-writer on the song, but we don't know what he's been writing. So if you know, drop a comment below and tell us. The repetitiveness of the whole melody makes it so catchy and makes it stay in your ear. We have one particular note which is called the tonal center, and in this case it's the 5. It's the D, we see it here. And if you take a look, I'm zooming out now for a little bit. you see that a lot of notes really repeat throughout the whole melody. And it's all kind of glued to this one note. What makes this melody special and what makes it so easy to sing along? Well, we have our main chord, which I already explained earlier. It's the it's the G minor, and the notes of the G minor chord are G, of course, B flat, and D. And now we just take a look on the first three notes of our melody, and who would have thought it's exactly those three notes. It starts with the D, we go to the B flat, or in this case, if you wonder why this is called A sharp here, it's the same note. It just depends on which scale you're in, how you call it. Since we're in G minor, we call it B flat. And it's the G, which is our root note. Okay, so it's getting really interesting in the last part here. That's where some more notes are added to the melody. We still have the first part of the melody that we've already listened to, which are these bunch of notes here. And here we are getting towards our main note, which is the G. So the tonal center was rooted around the D for the whole melody, and then once we come to the end and once we strive back to our root chord, which is G minor here in the end, we also tend to go back to our main tone, which is G. So it's no wonder that the whole melody ends in G. At least in this part. The song goes on, of course, but it's very repetitive, and the same structure and the same idea is valid for the rest of the song. Okay guys, but we want to write our own melodies, so we need some kind of structure and some kind of rule on how to do this. And we came up with the 2+1 rule. I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people came up with that already, but we're going to explain you how our 2+1 rules applies here and how we can write our catchy melodies with this rule. The 2+1 rule implies that we take two notes that are actually rooted in the chord that you're playing in the chord progression, and one note to make it more interesting. You will have to play around a little because you might hit a note that is not fitting the chords, but with this rule and some trust in your ear and maybe show it to other people to get their judgment, you will figure out how to write catchy melodies really, really fast. And we're going to do an example just in a minute. So what we have in this melody here is the D, we have the B flat, and we have the G in the end. But we also have two notes that are not really chord material, but that still work inside of the melody to give it some kind of being interesting and getting stuck in your ear. In this case, it's the C and the E flat, which is not in the pentatonic, but in the G minor scale. So this is what really gives it a little bit of attention. If we would say like, Havana, una na, half of my heart. So this note really gives it what sticks in your ear. All right, so as you see, we erased the original chords and we're gonna play a different chord progression to the same melody. And it still fits. So the first part of this chord progression is in natural minor, and the second part is in harmonic minor. And this is easy to be shown or to be seen in one chord or one note basically, which is the F, and in the end it's the F sharp. If we're going too fast, don't worry, we of course have all the MIDI files in the links below, so you can download them and put it into your MIDI editor and try to understand what's been going on here. So here's one trick how to write a chord progression like this without having too much knowledge on music theory. You can take the main chord, and in our case that's the G minor. I'm playing it on the keyboard, and you see the notes here, the G minor. And as you can realize, they're played in a lot of chords that we used here. So one thing you can do is playing this chord or just copying it and then play around with the bass notes. And this is exactly what we've done. So it's not only a G that fits, it's also an E flat that fits. And then we create an E flat major 7 chord. And also a C as a bass note fits perfectly. And then we have a 7 with a 9. The D is the 9 here in this case. So this gets a little more housey and a little bit more elaborated. So it seems, but it's really easy to do. All you need to do, it's even easier than the first one. So all you need to do is change the bass notes. And you have 3 chords with only playing 1. But of course we have little progressions in there that you can take a deeper dive into by downloading the MIDI file down there in the link section, and you can take a closer look on what we've been doing there. Okay, we've taken a look at the chord progression and we found out that it works because we changed the bass notes. Now we want to apply the 2+1 rule to write a catchy melody. Let's see if it works. You can judge me how I did in the comments. Please don't do that. The melody is really simple, so what we're going to do is we take 2 notes out of the chord and 1 note to add some tension. And it could be something like this. Okay, I was a little fast there, but I think you get what we've been doing here. We take a quick little look. Repetition, of course, is very, very important. So if you have a certain rhythm and a certain figure that you can play around, try to overdo it first, and you can still reduce later, and you can still get some repetitiveness out. But if you repeat, you get a catchy hook. Let's see how we did. Alright, so we wrote a catchy little melody here. Let's see how we did on the 2+1 rule. 2+1. We have a B flat major chord. We have the B flat here. We have the F here, which are already our 2 notes from the chord material. And we have our +1, which from now on we can always take to all catchy melodies that we're about to write. Sorry for the bad joke. And in this case it's G, and if we zoom out, we see that this applies for the rest as well. You can take a closer look in the MIDI file, because right now we want to show you how we structured or how we arranged the melody. And in this case we have the motive here, we have the variation here. So first we come up from the bottom, then we go down from the top again to our tonal center of the melody. Then we have the repetition of the first motive. We have the repetition of the variation. And since we're going into a different direction in the last chords, as we already told you, right here, we are in natural minor. And here with this second to last chord, we switch back to harmonic minor. This is why we need to change the melody a little bit to end in the wonderful G minor. So the next time you're struggling coming up with a catchy melody or a cool chord progression, just try to use the techniques that you've learned today. Try to use the 2+1 rule and you will definitely find a cool tune. If you want to learn more on music theory, just check the links below. You'll find a bunch of helpful links. And you can decide which song we do next. Just enter any song that you would like to hear in this format down in the comments. We will pick one and this is gonna be our next video. Until then, practice, produce, and make some cool music, and we hope to see you soon. Take care and bye-bye.